designed to enhance your marriage, enhance your life, that you might enjoy life like you've always desired. Joyce and Bill Harley are with us, and they're the authors, or Bill is. Joyce, can I put your name in there too?
Oh, I'm just proud to be with him. No, I was there while it was being done. But
Yeah,
my
but
name
he
isn't
wouldn't have
on
done
there.
it without you.
And she's in the book.
Yeah,
Very much
exactly.
in the book,
fact,
yes.
In fact, I saw at the very beginning.
Yes.
You've got the to Joyce, my one
Yeah.
and only.
Makes your heart flutter. Yes.
Yes, it does. His needs, her needs is our topic today. And Bill and Joyce will be with us all this week. So take time. Make sure you let your friends know about this series of programs. View us on the internet. Share it with one another. Let this be a marriage builder. And that's the name of the ministry.
Right.
Marriage Builders. You know, let's construct. You know, let's create the foundation that will sustain the structure that's beautiful and gorgeous and will last generations. And so today we're just going to begin to identify, because we're very different from one another, his needs and her needs. So where do we go from here?
Well, we can talk about his needs first.
Okay.
One of the points that I usually make is that I'm not going to tell anybody what their most important emotional needs are. They tell me. And so what I do is I give couples a list of choices. Now they can add to the list if they want. They can have something that isn't even on the list if they want to tell me. The question is, what could your spouse do for you that would make you the happiest? What could your spouse do for you that would be the most fulfilling? And so I give them choices. And what I've discovered is
especially for a man, it's important to give choices, because
Right.
those two questions, he'll simply go, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Haven't thought about
I
it,
haven't
right?
thought about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I'm kind of happy the way I am.
Yeah.
You know, but then the wife is saying, but wait, I want to love you, but you're not telling me how.
I want specifics. Exactly.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So the choices. Let me tell you what the choices are first, and let me see if I can remember them right when I'm doing these shows. Sometimes I have trouble remembering
Well,
my
he
own,
has it right in
my
front
own
of him. There.
categories.
There you go. Get ready.
Okay.
But the choices are affection, sexual fulfillment, conversation, recreational companionship, honesty and openness, financial support, an attractive spouse, physical attractiveness, domestic support, family commitment, and admiration. Did I miss any?
You did
You
it.
got it. No, you got them all. Yeah.
Good.
And you got a chapter on each one of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a book for me.
So
Serious. I'm excited.
So you look at each of these and you say, okay, now out of that whole list, what could my spouse do that would make me the happiest? When I talk to most men,
Okay, now, so you're saying this list you present to both?
yes,
Okay, so these are the questions that we're not just asking men alone, but we're asking both men
Right.
and women.
And there are, you know, the woman tends to go over to this certain group of things
Okay.
more than a man, but it doesn't mean that you can't cross over.
and it doesn't mean
You know.
that she doesn't have any interest in any of these needs that he
others.
has.
It's the top 5, is
Yeah,
it?
the
that you
question
want-
is-
Begin to prioritize
What's the
these.
greatest?
Identify them.
Exactly.
What's the most efficient way to deposit love units?
Okay.
So what creates the most massive number of love units in the other guy's love bank? And out of this list, what could Joyce do for me that would make me the happiest? And for most men, the answer is sexual fulfillment. That is what they usually start their list with.
However, it's becoming also on the woman's list, one of the top
More and more
needs.
we're seeing this for women, but but basically for most men, they will put that of all the 10 that are there.
Yep.
They'll put sexual fulfillment on the top. After sexual fulfillment, they usually put recreational companionship. In other words, they want her to join him in activities that he enjoys. They like her to go fishing with him, hunting,
Hey,
go to football games.
I did. I took Audrey to a basketball game the other night.
Did she enjoy it?
She said she did, and I had a hard time believing her.
Oh, really?
No, she, yeah. I mean, she put on her orange T-shirt,
Oh,
you know,
that's-
"Go
that's
Suns,
good, yeah.
go," you know, that kind of a thing. And I really liked being there, but that was the first time we've ever gone to a game together. You know, usually it's me and the boys, you know, that kind of a thing. And she said, no, I really want to do this. I really want to do it. So during the game,
She must have read the book.
I'm like, yes. I'm like, really, are you having a good time? Is it okay? Are you enjoying? Are you understanding and this and that? No, I really like it. We won't do it next weekend together, but that time was good.
Good.
Well,
So
Joyce,
she had a positive experience.
Yeah, it was good.
And she was depositing love units in your love bank
Yeah.
because you were associating her with this wonderful time that you were having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joyce went to a football game with me this year. She
Yes.
was willing to go on the condition that we saw Minnesota play the Green Bay Packers and that
was a
Brett
good
Favre was playing for the Vikings
It was
for the
good.
very first time.
It was good.
You got to see that game
Even I
live.
got excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched every minute of
I
that
had
game.
a jersey on and everything.
Yep, and
she
this
enjoyed it.
This was a monumental year, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have been to football games where in the parking lot I have asked who won. It's not my bottom line favorite,
Right,
but nevertheless, yeah, this was a good year.
Okay, so with men, sexual fulfillment is number one, recreational companionship is number two.
Number two. The third is physical attractiveness. In other words, the thing that deposits a lot of love units is for their wife to look attractive.
In their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not setting a criteria that you have to look like the front of Glamour or something
no,
like that. It's what drew you to that woman in the first place.
Yeah.
And keep it up. And do you still like the look? I ask Bill all the time, what do you think of this outfit? Do you like this? Do you don't? Now, I don't do it if I don't also like it.
Yes.
You
Right.
follow what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's a mutual decision.
Yeah.
But I want his input. I want to be
Yeah.
physically attractive to Bill.
Yeah. For Audrey and I in the 80s, big hair, and really tight jeans. All right? She asked me what was the first thing that attracted me. It was the smile.
Okay.
Honestly, it was her
Yeah,
smile.
really? Honestly? Yes?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Because I was so intrigued. I didn't know, how did you get inside of those tight jeans? It looked so uncomfortable. So now here we are, 26 years
And the
later.
smile is still there.
Smile's still there.
Yeah.
But I do not like the tight jeans.
Oh, you don't like them? Okay. What about big hair?
It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
he
I mean,
doesn't
hair is not a priority in my life.
I can tell.
But I love her
Yes.
smile. Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
the other one for me is scent. I like her smell. Those kinds of things.
See, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
I notice these
And
things.
I'm sure she's not going to choose a scent, though, that she too does not like. And that's the part we have to understand
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That is, we want your input. We want to deposit the love units. We want you happy.
Yeah.
But we're going to be happy too.
Right. I recognize, I'm beginning to notice the needs or, the desires that you have, but there's going to be mutual.
Right.
You see, and that's a relationship.
Very
the
important.
mutual sharing of life with one another.
Right.
Okay, good. Next.
The fourth is admiration. Men like to be admired
Oh, yeah.
by their wife. And I've often said that in marriage, your spouse should be the president of your fan club. And all too often, women are very critical of their husbands. Instead of being the president of the fan club, they are the husband's worst critic. Constantly telling him what he needs to do to improve.
What he did wrong.
And this is the opposite of what he needs emotionally. What he needs is affirmation,
Yeah.
to be told that he's doing a good job, and that there are things about him that she admires and that she respects. And so many women have told me, when it comes to that emotional need, yeah, but what if I don't admire
Yeah.
him? What if I don't respect him? What if I think he's got all kinds of problems that need to be overcome? I said, well, the important thing is to express your admiration of the things that you value more than the things you would like to correct, because his need for admiration is so important that your only hope to improve him is to make sure he knows you're on his side.
Yeah.
And that you are his support.
Good
And that you are his fan.
Yeah.
And that you want the very best for him. You're not his enemy. You're not his critic. You are his. You're the person who loves him.
Yeah.
See. Okay. Then
Because when you come home,
yeah.
he's drained, but he also knows that I'm not. I'm not going to come home and be drained even more.
That's
Right.
right.
I'm going to get a little bit of
Yeah.
encouragement.
Right, right.
You know, and just a little bit goes a long ways.
Yeah, well, and a lot is even better.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, but
You
I know
start
that
with a
there are
little.
marriages that are in crisis, and they're
Yeah.
like, you know, you have no idea what he has done and
Yeah.
how he has ruined and how he, you know, all of these types of things. There's something.
Yes, exactly.
There's something. And what you want to do, and Audrey and I share this in our conferences, is this. What you want to do is speak to the king in that man rather than the idiot. And our
said.
sitcoms, what do? They always speak to the idiot in the man, and we call it funny. You see?
Yeah,
no,
it's not.
No, it's heartbreaking. It will destroy a relationship in a marriage quicker than anything. There is royalty and kingship, you know, in that man. Find it and begin to speak to that, and watch. He'll elevate. He'll begin to arise to it.
Right. It's a very, very important point that spouses should never ridicule each other, and they should never make jokes about each other.
Yep.
And it's one of the categories that I use that I call love busters,
Okay.
disrespectful
Yeah,
judgments.
and we'll get to that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so stay with us. You know, really, we're going to get.
It's
This
to
is a
come.
very important week, you know, for you. You're going to get more help than you could ever imagine. This is a marriage seminar designed for you. It is. Thank you. Okay.
Now the fifth is a tricky one. The fifth is a very hard to define and very hard to implement in the society we're living in right
It's
now.
changing.
And that is what I call domestic support. Domestic support is where the wife would become the manager of household responsibilities and childcare. And now in our society where we're dealing with dual career families, that is almost impossible. What you have to do instead is to create a relationship where you divide responsibilities in what I call a fair division of labor. Fair division of labor. The question is, how does a man get this emotional need met when his wife is working full time and they have 3 kids? See, I mean, so in this particular category, which men do indicate would deposit a lot of love, you said she would just take care of the kids and do the housework for me, that would deposit a lot of it. A lot of women are saying, I feel the same way. I want him to do that for me, you know. And there is an effort to try to balance this out, and it is, of all of the categories that I work with, the most difficult and most confusing for couples. So in review, those are the 5 that come up.
Those tend to be the top 5.
Those are 5.
on the
Sexual
list.
fulfillment, recreational companionship, physical attractiveness, admiration, and domestic support. Now that doesn't mean that women don't have those 5 emotional needs, or in some cases would put one of them in their list of 5. But I'm saying that on average, this is the list that you're going to find for men. And so if you
Now, how
focus
many-
on those lists,
yeah,
that's
how many men, you know, easily identify their needs?
pretty quick.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Having a list
Well,
in
if
front
you have
helps.
the list in front
Yes.
of
Yes.
Okay.
The list definitely
Yeah.
helps.
Okay.
If you ask a man just, you know, out of the
Out of
blue
the-
with
yeah,
nothing,
pull it out
you
of the
know,
air.
what is
No.
the most
Yeah.
important? I think most men would probably identify sexual fulfillment without
Yeah.
too much hesitation.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are very confusing.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, you know, usually that one's number 1 on the list because they think if they get that, all the other things will go away.
Okay.
You know, that's
Yeah.
you know, if I got
Yeah.
that, everything else really
Then I
doesn't
don't
matter.
care about anything
but
else.
that's not
right.
true.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not true
No.
at all. And so to be able to begin to notice, you know, because that's, you know, I find with men, you know, if you can just really begin to notice what is it that your heart is really crying for, then we can begin to answer it. You know, because a lot of times we're answering questions we're not asking. And so what is it in your marriage, in your relation? What is the heart cry? And that's why it's so important to begin to identify it and begin to put words. You know, that's what you've done for men. And it's like, you know, I have this troubling in me, but I don't know what it is. And what you've done, Bill and Joyce, today is saying, okay, here's some language that will help you to communicate with one
Right.
another, bring an understanding so that you can understand and just go, oh, I get it. I'm getting it.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things you want to notice is that there's nothing in the list about spiritual needs. And I was dealing mostly with Christian couples. Included in the couples that I counseled were missionaries, were pastors, were evangelists, and I was looking for spiritual needs as important to deposit love units. And as important as I think it is, I think it's very, very important for a husband and wife to have daily devotions with each other, to pray together.
Pray together, right.
To be on the same page when it comes to understanding God's will for their life. The truth is that in my counseling of Christian couples, many of the couples that actually were praying together every day were also contemplating divorce, which to me as a Christian was impossible. How could that possibly happen? So what I'm dealing with here is something that was carefully thought through for both Christian couples and non-Christian couples. That, the question is, what is it that triggers the feeling of passion in marriage? And while I am very much in favor of Christian couples being on the same page with the Lord, as it turns out, these things came up on the top of the list for Christian couples. And as I pointed out to people, I said, look, if Bible study deposits more love units for you, put it on your list.
Put it on your list, right.
Make it your emotional need. And there are some women that do that. When we get to talking about a woman's emotional needs, women will come up with that far more often than men.
Men will.
So if you have another emotional need that out of all this list would deposit more love units, go for it.
Okay.
Have your spouse meet that emotional need for you.
Okay. Now, as people, as they get the book and begin to journey through it, and just even today, majority of our viewership are ladies. The man's going to come home, and she's going to say, "You wouldn't believe what I saw on It's a New Day." You've got, in all these kinds of things. Okay, how, once we begin to, create this list, what do I do with it then?
You talk to each other. In other words, you present the list and you say, I've gone through the list that Dr. Harley has presented, and I want you to know that these are my 5 top needs.
Okay.
Now, you tell me your 5 top needs, and let's do an exchange. I'm going to become a master at meeting your needs. I want you to become a master at meeting mine, an expert. And what we discovered, too, is that these were things we were doing for each other when we first fell in love. Very often, recreational companionship, you went out and you had wonderful times together, you had conversation, you had affection. What was the other one that?
Physical attractiveness.
Physical attractiveness, yes.
Bill
yes.
remembers that one well.
Got that one.
Got that one.
I mean, but these were things that you were meeting in each
Admiration.
other. Yeah, admiration. Oh, absolutely. You're the sun, moon, and stars.
yeah.
I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And to think back, I mean, you were doing it when you first got engaged. You were dating, engaged, and first married. Why did it go by the wayside? Well, other things came in, and you thought, hey, we're married. It's going to continue on. Wrong. It's not. Just like you can work out and lose weight and get really physically in shape, but if you don't continue on, it's not going to keep going.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep that body that you designed to have. And really, quite honestly, the same happens in marriage. And the faster we understand this, it doesn't just happen, that the more we're going to be having fulfilled marriages, because people are going to be putting time into it and fulfilling each other by meeting the emotional needs.
Yeah. To answer your question another way, the question is, how do you become an expert at meeting these emotional needs?
That's important too.
And there
right.
are 3 components. There are 3 parts to it. One is that it has to be effective. It has to work. And so you have to be, what you do for the other person has to actually deposit love units. So if it's physical attractiveness, what you do for yourself to make yourself more physically attractive has to actually be physically attractive to your spouse.
Yeah.
So your spouse has to say, you know, this
Don't
is
waste
really,
your efforts.
This is really
Right.
working for me. Recreational companionship is another good example. It has to, you know, are you in fact doing things that your husband really enjoys doing with you? The second is frequency. Are you doing it often enough to meet the important emotional need, or is it something that your spouse is craving? He's not getting quite enough of it. So it has to be effective, it has to be frequent, and the third is it has to be mutual. In other words, what you do to make your spouse happy has to work for you too. So Joyce could go with me to the football game because she really wanted to see Brett Favre, and that worked. See, I mean, it deposited love units for me, but it was a mutual experience.
Yes.
Now the question is,
He didn't drag me there.
how do we get the frequency up? Is the problem. But the basic idea is that if you really want to learn to meet your spouse's emotional needs, it has to be effective. It has to work. It has to be frequent, and it has to be mutual. Now, it also has to become a habit. And in order to become a habit, you have to do it often enough so that eventually what you're doing for each other that deposits all these love units
Becomes natural.
becomes
Yes,
essentially
absolutely.
effortless.
Yep.
Right.
And see, that's what engineers like.
Yeah.
Effortlessness.
It's working.
Yeah,
Right.
it's working.
It's working. It took some effort to build the bridge,
To get it there.
but we get to go back and forth
That's
over
right.
that bridge without effort.
Once again, the exercise thing, you know, it's a maintenance issue once
Yeah.
you've developed the exercise program that you want and you find successful in getting the body you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so thankful that you're here. So thankful that you're going to spend the week with us. This is wonderful. The book is His Needs, Her Needs, Building an Affair-Proof Marriage. I strongly recommend this for you. Would you please put it in your home, but don't put it just in the bathroom or alongside the bed. Read it, okay? And then begin to take the discipline to begin to create that list. And in tenderness and gentleness and love, begin to share with one another. You know, why do I create the list? Why do I share this with you? For this reason and this reason alone, because I desire you. That's what it is. You prefer one another. I desire you. I chose you out of everyone else in this whole world. I want to do life with you. Okay? But the thing is that sometimes we just kind of grow apart or side by side. It's not that the love isn't there. Okay? It's just that we've gotten a little too busy sometimes. So let's just begin to turn some things off. Begin to read some things, all right? Begin to notice one another again. And let's begin to see, rekindled once again within our marriages, within your marriage, that love, that romantic, that enjoyment, that you really might enjoy the marriage that you've always desired. Today's a great day. Be with us again tomorrow. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back to close the program right after this.
Is the chemistry you once had with your spouse all but gone? Do you bring out the worst in each other? Then you need the book Love Busters. Dr. Willard Harley identifies the 6 love busters that tears marriages apart and shows you how to avoid them. Then take your marriage off the charts with His Needs, Her Needs. Dr. Harley explains the most common emotional needs for spouses and sets up your love bank accounts. This explosive combo of books by Dr. Willard Harley is available for purchase today.